Hi everyone, welcome to Cars with Ben, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you about 6 of my favourite road rally cars that have ever been made. Now, I picked 6 of my favourites. I could have picked so many more. There was a lot to choose from, but these 6 have really stood out to me, and these cars you can actually buy from rally to road cars in today's money. It is very expensive, but they are awesome legendary cars, so let's jump straight into it. Coming up with my first one is one of my favourites. It's the Audi Quattro. So the Audi Quattro, as we all know, pretty much set the way and paved a lot of the technology for what Audis that we see today. The Audi Quattro was released and shown at the 1980 Geneva Motor Show, and then production continued all the way through to 1991. So a very long time that it was produced. They actually made just under 12,000 Audi Quattros, and here you can see its rally form in Group B or in its sort of different version of Pikes Peak, which I absolutely love. So they did different versions. Now it is very retro and incredibly awesome. Just really reminds you of the 80s. And they came with a 2.1 to 2.2 litre engine, and it was pretty powerful given its curb weight. It was only 1300 kg really at the time, which was pretty much nothing for the car. And that of course made it epic in its rally abilities and competed for quite a long time, winning a lot of championships throughout its different history, and it really paved the way for a lot of other Audis, which is great. And I think what's really important with this car is that the four-wheel drive system made Audi what it was known for. So it really put it on the map for putting four-wheel drive in pretty standard cars that you wouldn't expect. So we really owe it to this car really for its really a time where it innovated so much. So I absolutely love Audi Quattros, and they are really rising in value. So awesome cars, not as rare on the list, but had to include this one. Coming in at number 2 spot is ultimately one of the most legendary rally cars that you can actually think of that got turned into a road car. It is the Porsche 959. Now this car, as a lot of people may know, is a very ultimate supercar that you sort of look up to if you go back to the 90s and 80s. And this is no exception. It was manufactured by, of course, Porsche, and it was originally a Group B rally car and later a road legal production car. Now, to satisfy the FIA, they had to make at least 200. I don't believe they made too much more. So then, once these came out, they are pretty much priceless. I've seen some of these go for almost £1 million, and they are just unbelievable, and you'll probably be very unlikely to see one. Now, it came with a 2.8 litre twin turbocharged flat six, which is pretty typical of Porsche at the time, with a curb weight of only 1500 kg, which was very light and very powerful for such a car. And that meant, of course, it did awesome in rallying, and the 959 is actually now one of the most legendary Porsches to ever been made, and I believe one of the most expensive cars you can buy from Porsche. Now, they just came with a very simple 80s interior, and they made it all the way through to the 90s, I believe, where they sort of made changes in their rally car. But for the most part, the car stayed the same in that time and was absolutely insanely quick for its time. Coming in for my number 3 choice is the Mini Cooper Historic Rally Car. Now, this one was a little interesting to find, and I did some research around this. I've always loved Minis, and this car, for me, really it showed that it was awesome to modify and create into a rally car. Interestingly enough, these cars were pretty fast. Now, they came up to a top speed of 130 for some of these, which is really quick for a little Mini. Mini Coopers, originally in the WRC, did very well in rally, and they actually beat a lot of other competitors that you wouldn't expect for such a little car, and they actually took the rally world by storm. Especially in a spec like this, it was pretty much unstoppable because of its handling. Now, a lot of them came with solid shells and resprayed with a full body roll cage, and it was just fully rally spec'd, which is awesome. And here you can see sort of what the original one would look like, and then whether they turn that into a historic rally. Now, a lot of these are still used in historic rally, which is awesome, and for me this is one of my favourite little cars. I'd love to own one, rally or not. It just comes with such a simple little engine and a high-speed gearbox. Coming in for my 4th choice is the Renault 5. Now, a legendary French choice here. A car that I have always really liked and appreciated. Now, this Renault 5 started off life pretty basic like this. Not too over-modified. Pretty standard, really. But when they started making the rally car, it got a little bit insane with the turbo. Now, the turbo actually came first and then turned into a rally car, unlike the 959. With a 1.4 litre engine from 1980 to 1984, and then 1980 to 1986 in several different versions of the facelift, it was an insane engine and car. This was less than a ton, so the car and Renault 5 was incredibly powerful. Now, Renault 5s are very, very expensive now, and you're very unlikely to see one. I rarely ever see one of these, but you are likely to see maybe a Renault 5 standard. It's just the turbos are just unreal and very expensive. But these cars rallied for quite a while and were quite successful in their area, but just not as popular as sort of the ones we've seen prior to this car. What I love about this is the flared arches, the lights, and the huge body kit that the 5 came with, so it was unmistakable. You'd never think it was anything else. And it's a shame because Renault really haven't made anything quite similar like it before. For my number 5 spot, it is the Ford Escort Mark 1, or Mexico. Now, the Mark 1 and Mark 2 were similar in their specs, but the Mexico was incredibly awesome, and then later became a rally car because of its prestigious road ability in the UK, and was a very popular car when it was first sold. What I love about the Mexico is it's such a classic car now and very retro. Now, Mexicos weren't actually as fast as you might think. The top speed was 100 miles an hour, which is actually pretty slow considering it had a 1.6 litre 4-cylinder engine, which would produce as much as 120 horsepower. Now, they obviously came in different versions, but with the road rally car, that is what made it awesome after the rally events. I think a lot of the Mexicos got sort of inspired by how well they did in rally, and they were just insanely quick. Once you modified this thing, it was really, really beating everything in the track. And even today's standard, this car would just absolutely trounce everything. It was light on its feet and quick with this on the straights. And guys, coming in for my final choice, I've saved the best to last for myself. It is the Evo 6. Now, the Evo 6 came in a Tommy Mackinnon edition, or just a standard Evo 6 with a generic in red. But this particular one is a Tommy Mackinnon edition, and I absolutely love these. They are pretty legendary, especially for Colin McRae rally, and very simplistic. What I love about Evo 6s is that they are so rare now, and you just never see them, but pretty much like all the cars in this list. Evo 6s came with a 2-litre inline 4-cylinder turbocharged car, so it was pretty powerful, producing 276 horsepower for the time, and with a curb weight of 1300 kg. So, low weight and very high power meant a very quick car. This is very much what you think of when you think of a road rally car, so the Evo 6 really had to be included in this for me, and I absolutely love these. Now, these are really, really rising in value, much like a lot of the list on this video today, and there's no exception. What's great about these is they're so modifiable and very, very spec'd up for JDM, so they came in very different versions, so there wasn't just one type fits all. A lot of them have been modified, and it's great to see them even now. Now, they stopped making the Evo at number 10, which is an absolute shame because I'd love to see another Evo again. Anyway, guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed. Let me just do some honourable mentions, which are, of course, the Toyota GR Yaris. Now, this is fairly new, but I didn't really want to include it because it's still early days in its rallying world. And then, of course, I included the Subaru WRX STI. I do love these, but I just wanted to cover a few more cars in that time. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next car video.